No, we're getting a lot of old clients coming back asking for refreshing or digging out old projects, and that's quite healthy. We're very busy, satisfying a lot of those more complex needs now than nowadays. I think the election of the Morrison government really helped, as opposed to what might have happened otherwise. We saw people sitting on the fence a bit in the pre-election period, and now they've jumped off the fence and are actually going to do something, which is very healthy for them because they need to do something because they haven't done anything for a while.
We really haven't noticed it as yet. What we're seeing is essentially the same type of growth, and we've had decent growth for the last 2 or 3 years and in the last 12 months. So we haven't really seen it slow down. So it is still maintaining roughly the same pace that we've had for the last 3 years. We're not having a huge amount of growth, but we're having growth.
Well, for us at the moment it's pretty balanced. We obviously see some companies rising and there's some other companies that fall away a little bit, but on the whole things are pretty good. Victoria's really strong, major manufacturing area for us, and I guess with the onset of some new products of ours, that's also helped to fill some of that gap.
We didn't necessarily see the slowdown that other people were seeing. I think that well-established businesses develop an inbuilt resistance to this, so that we find that people with cheaper products and alternative suppliers progress fairly difficult into these systems, into these areas, so that well-established businesses find it a lot easier to cope.
We didn't notice activity due to threshold change. I felt we saw the activity because of the usual lateness in people trying to purchase. The threshold really didn't matter to us because our products are mainly below the threshold, well below the threshold, and we don't get multiple purchases which would take people to the threshold. Even if there are multiple purchases, they're still well below the threshold, so it becomes a kind of threshold didn't make much difference to us. What did make the difference was the fact that once again people decided to go too late. It's as simple as that. They just simply wait till the last minute, and then we get that huge boost of activity in the second half of June, for example, instead of people trying to spread it over throughout the entire year, which they can do. So this was very interesting to us. We didn't see our end of year was practically the same as last year. So it was essentially the same. So we did not experience growth as such. We just experienced it all being bunched up in the last two or 3 weeks.
Well, I guess the ATO's asset scheme is most welcome. For us, we sell into Australia, New Zealand and PNG, Papua New Guinea, so we don't see that flow-on effect overall. We also sell through distribution, so that impact's not quite as strong as what it may well be. But again, through the onset of for new products that we've released, we are seeing still pretty strong growth through Australia.
Australian industry is very innovative. Where other countries use volume to solve problems, we have to do many different things at the same time as solving all of those problems. We're good at this. We need some assistance from the government, not disincentives. That doesn't help. Encourage businesses to do R&D or invest in somebody who can, instead of picking away at it and reducing it. It's hardly helpful. It's very difficult for companies in Australia to have the quantity of size and volume to justify doing some R&D. So they need assistance, they need help, not continually pecking away and reducing it. That doesn't help anything.
Okay, the Reserve Bank has reduced interest rates, and the rumour is that they will reduce it again, but they are running out of interest to reduce because we're down essentially to the last percentage of interest rate. So what I feel they need to do, and they've already done some of it, they've injected cash into the economy through tax cuts, but those are not going to kick in until about 6 months or thereabouts. But the second problem is that they are really targeted towards consumers, whereas they're not targeted towards business. So what may be more interesting for business is, for example, if they adopt a different kind of a cash injection like quantitative easing, like they did in the United States, where they actually print money in a sense and add more money into the economy, which may give the businesses a boost and allow businesses to spend for business. And that may generate more turnover and more income for business and hence more profit.
Directly for us, it should be in around infrastructure. Infrastructure and resources are the strongest area for us, where we see the penetration. So they would be the two key areas, as well as safety, because we bring a lot of our products in now with safety in mind, along with our battery technology, which then eliminates cords and on-site injuries.
I think the tax cuts they've done are probably a good idea. I hear all sorts of reports about whether they're effective or not effective. I think the government has to bite the bullet and start some very big major infrastructure projects. And until it does that, it's only half-hearted about what we're achieving. The companies in Australia need a big influx of money from the government, and honestly, we don't care whether the government goes into debt a bit. That's not important. But what's important is to keep the economy moving, and they're not going to do that by a few tax rebates, some of them that don't take effect until 2022 or something.